Hello everybody, I'm ShadowsReign and today we are going to be completely overhauling Rue's PC. As you can see, it's looking a little bit beat up, a little bit unkept and a little bit unloved. So we're basically going to get right into it and just, yeah, we're going to break it down. So we're going to completely renovate it. It's going to look really good, it's going to look really snazzy and can't wait to get into it. So initially, as you can see, we've got a case that is a little bit beat up here. It's missing a front drive port, which is where you would usually put a disk drive. So that's obviously beat that in its past. There has been a disk drive there, which has been taken out, and yeah, it just looks a bit, it's a bit dirty. But that's kind of the way that Rue received it, really. I'm not sure where this case come from. I know that Ginger Fox found it, but where he actually found it from, I don't know. Looks like a Skippy found it in though. So yeah, just in that regard, really, I just want to briefly talk about the fact that in this system, it's kind of like a hybrid of what belongs to who. So you can see that we've got the CPU, the motherboard, this nice little CPU cooler. So this stuff belongs to me, which will be going in my second rig. Once I'm on the way of sorting that out. But that's a video for another time. But I will mention it a little bit more in depth later. We've got a graphics card, power supply, a hard drive, and an SSD, which are Rue's. And then, like I said, the case and SATA cables, I believe, came from Connor. So yeah, what essentially happened is Rue's basically said, I want this to be mine. So this computer is the taster and introduction to him in PC gaming. Really enjoys it, and now he wants to actually fully commit to the project. So we had a little conversation, and I brought my brother involved as well. Brother picked the parts, basically vetted them and made sure that they were good. They were a good pick. I would have done this myself, but give the lad some experience in doing such a thing, because I'm nice. But yeah, quite happy with what he picked, so we went with it. Rue picked the case after Joe gave him a couple of options. And we're cracking on. So the first thing that we need to do really is essentially strip it down. So everything that belongs to Rue, I'm going to take out. Everything that belongs to Rue is going to be stripped, cleaned. Very important that we clean everything, and then we'll prep that and get it ready for the new build. So let's crack on with emptying it. So yeah, looking at it, it is a bit manky, but Rue did tell me that beforehand, so I don't mind. I should be wearing a face mask now, which I will be when I'm actually faffing around with stuff in here. But for the video segments, obviously I'm going to take the face mask off. But no, it doesn't look too bad. Cable management could have been better, but we knew that this case was a stand-in anyway. So yeah, we're going to get all of this stuff out of here, and then we're going to basically put that stuff over there and combine the two. So basically, this is going to be all Rue's computer come the end of it. So let's just kind of briefly go over what belongs to who. So we do have
the i7, which is yours, the motherboard, which is yours, the RAM, which is mine, the power supply is yours. Yeah.
So in the middle of telling everyone that.
Oh. Sorry.
I'll try that again,
Yeah.
Dickhead. Having a little look around, the fan came with the case, although I'm probably going to nick that freeze. I'm probably going to nick that for Rue's build, just because it's got loads of front fans. I don't think it has a back fan, so we'll have a little look into that. And yeah, the graphics card, of course, that is Rue's. So he has got a 1660, I think it is. If I'm mistaken, I will put a little audio thing up here. Oh, and the wireless card. That doesn't belong to neither me nor Rue. That belongs to Joe. But probably with me moving out soon, I'm probably going to end up taking that with me anyway, because he won't need it, as he'll have my LAN set up. So yeah, that's what we're looking at the moment. But let's crack on and get some of this stuff out. Ew. remainder of this stuff now belongs to either me or somebody else. So with the motherboard and the other stuff in here, that's going to be going in a second machine in the future. But for now, let's crack on with actually building his new computer. So in terms of his upgrades, we are going to be going for a 5600X Ryzen 5. This is a really strong CPU for gaming, and he wants this computer to have streaming potential, but not to be built specifically for streaming. So we're going for mainly gaming performance, which can dabble in streaming. If he wants to fully commit to streaming, we can then upgrade his processor further down the line. But you want something that can do at least everything to some capacity, so which is why we went for this one. This is actually faster for gaming than my Ryzen 9 3900X. So yeah, a little bit peeved about that, but whatever. And we've also got a motherboard here, which is a tough gaming motherboard. Now, looking at it, you're going to be able to quickly notice if you're savvy that, and to begin with, this CPU will not work on this motherboard. We'll need to flash the BIOS. However, this has BIOS flashback. So we've got a little memory stick there with the BIOS already installed, and I've already went through everything with Joe to make sure it's all set up properly. So yeah, I'm quite happy that that's going to work. So that shouldn't be a problem. And with BIOS flashback, we don't need a relevant CPU. I've got one, which I can use. It will definitely work with this motherboard, but I don't need to plug that in and then unplug it and then plug the ruse in. I don't need to do that. I can just press a button on when it's powered off but plugged in, and yeah, it's all good. Now we are also going to be using this nice Corsair case. Rue did have options regarding this one. He did have a couple of choices, but he did choose this one in the end. I think it's just because it just looks clean, it looks classy, you know. But it also has that RGB element with the fans, and with the right motherboard, you can put some LED strips in there and have a full-blown RGB rig. Now, another thing that we're going to briefly talk about as well is that we're going to have my Wraith Prism RGB. So I'm going to put that cooler in there. I know it's the idea that it's going to be Ruse. So here's the crack. It is going to be Ruse. I'm going to give it to him. And in return, I'm going to take the CPU cooler that he gets with his Ryzen 5. So we're going to call it a swap. Because I've got a few of those coolers already, and they can go in builds which need them. And to be honest, the Wraith Prism is just lying around, and if there's going to be any computer that it's going to go in, I want it to be Ruse. So yeah, I'm happy to give him that. In return for his base stock cooler, which I can repurpose in other machines. And then we've also got I've already mentioned the motherboard, we've got the RAM, we have got the Corsair Vengeance RAM. It just looks awesome. I've got this RAM in my own computer. It's 3200 megahertz. So, you know, it's good enough for everything he's ever going to need with this computer. And of course, it's got that RGB element as well. With the windowed case, it's going to look really good in there. Now, this was down to Rue. We gave him two options. We gave him a non-RGB version of RAM. We gave him the RGB version of RAM. We gave him the price difference, and he said, well, you might as well just get the RGB version. So that we did. So yeah, let's briefly get into building this. Well, let's get into building this stuff. So the way that it's going to be done is obviously I'm going to build it. Now, the reason I'm going to build it as opposed to Joe, as opposed to anybody else, is we are putting a lot of work into making this look clean. He spent a lot of money on this. His total investment now is, you know, substantial compared to budget builds, let's say. So, you know, if someone's spending that much money on a computer, I want to make it look nice. Even when people spend not a lot on computers, like Hexy's girlfriend, I still put a lot of effort into cable tying and cable management and that to make it look really clean. So same thing's going to be the same regarding this one. So a lot of it's just going to be pre-wiring everything. So as you can see, there's a lot of cable management options on this case, which is really fun. So I'm gonna basically take everything here, and I'm just gonna, you know, just gonna pre-wire everything. So I'm gonna put all the fans. I'm gonna look at the motherboard, see whether these fan headers are, and see if I can get them in places of work. Now we are carrying over an old fan from the last case, just for a bit of exhaust at the back. The only thing I don't like about this is that it's got horrible red and mustard cable, which I'm going to need to find a creative solution to hide. But I am confident that if I can route another fan into the header next to it, I should be able to hide that with, well, no, not with ease, but I should be able to hide that quite well, because it is a tinted window as well, so you'll have to really look for it to see it by the time I'm done with it. So after I've pre-cabled everything, I'm going to pop the hard drives in, the hard drive and the SSD. I'm going to get those SATA cables lined up, and I'm just looking at the motherboard and just seeing what cables are going to go where, and just making sure that everything's ready. After that, I'm going to put the power supply in, and once there's a power supply in, same thing again. I'm going to pre-route my cables. Everything that I need is going to go where it needs to be. Everything I don't need is going to be hidden around the back. Now, I actually do cable manage the back as well, because it just makes things a lot easier going forward. So if you ever need like an upgrade or you need to take something out, knowing what cable's going where makes things so much easier. And also, I take a bit of pride in making the back look cable managed. Like, I don't want someone to go in the back of a computer that I've built and it's an absolute mess. So I do take a bit of pride in it, and I do like it being sorted out at the back as well. So it's doing really well. Now, another thing that I really wanted to talk to you about regarding this particular build is kind of the ease of the case. Like, usually cases like this are a bit of a biatch to build in, but this was actually a really solid building experience. There's plenty of cable management routes to go with. There's plenty of ways that you can do things. You got a little bit of clearance at the back as well. It's not the most I've ever seen, but it's enough clearance to get a couple of cables in there and go. Because his particular power supply has 2 CPU headers, 2 CPU power cables, and what I've been able to fold it back, tuck it on the inside of the case, and it's fine, absolutely there. I don't need it dangling out the front, so that's absolutely fine. Once we've got that cable managed, we're then going to go ahead and pop the motherboard in. So the motherboard didn't go in cleanly at first, but then I realized I put the I/O tray in the wrong way. So I just popped that out, put it back in the right way, and it fit in, no bother. But the good thing is that I've just punched my mic there. The good thing is once everything's like in place and lined up, once I've put that motherboard in, every cable is where it needs to be already, and it's so straightforward just to go bang. And like I said to Rue, like, I know it's taken a long time to cable manage everything, but once the motherboard's in, it's going to be super quick, and that it was. Everything plugged in, no problem. I had no issues with any slack, and I did find a creative solution to deal with that red and mustard cable. I did manage to get a fan through there, and I've tucked the slack of the cable in behind the fan. I positioned the fan in such a way where that cable is facing the motherboard and not like obviously the window or the power supply or the roof. I put it in a place where I can hide it. I've cable tied it in 3 different areas just to put that slack in, and I've put that in a place you can't see it, and then I've just let just enough cable that I need to fit into the slot, and then I've put another fan, the top fan at the front. That cable's routed all the way through the top, and I'm able to basically put that cable on top of the mustard cable so you can barely see it. You wouldn't even know it was there. So really happy that I've been able to sort that out. And yeah, basically once I've got everything plugged in now, I'm just basically tightening up the cable management, just making sure that there isn't any unnecessary slack. A little bit on the SATA cables, which was a bit hard to deal with, but I did get that sorted in the end. Good thing with that motherboard too is that it came with black SATA cables, which was fantastic. So I was pink ones in the other machine, and we've managed to replace them with black, so it looks super clean, super sleek. Now, once we've got everything to a level where I'm happy with it, we've flashed the BIOS and done the RAM, and we got all the RGB software installed and all the drivers and stuff. So yeah, all lit up, this is what the final thing looks like. I am super proud of this machine. I'm really glad of how it's went. I think looking at the before and the after, the difference between the two is absolutely incredible. It's a complete overhaul, and I'm actually really happy with how this has went. So Rue is delighted with it, especially the RAM. The RAM, he really likes that effect. Like when I was talking to Rue about the RAM, he didn't really seem that interested in RGB, which was like kind of a might as well. But I think that's one of his favourite aspects of the case now. And the fact that that Wraith Prism in there, it does look really good. He's already bought another fan for the back, because I can put another 3 in the back for him. 1 at the back, 2 at the top. So I think he's going to go for the 1 at the back. Probably going to go for 2 at the top as well. So yeah, it's going to be really good. And it can all look good. And he's called it Blue. So yeah, bit of an uncreative name. And you know, literally blood, sweat and tears went into that machine. He's called it Blue. So that's a bit of a kick in the dick. But I really enjoy building this for him, and I really hope he enjoys. Really hope he enjoys it. And I was thinking, having a computer like that, it's a bit of a flex. So hopefully that works out for him too. But yeah, guys, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. But the next project going to be on this channel is likely going to be my second build, which is going to be the remnants of that old machine in an micro ITX form factor. It's proving difficult. However, I think I may have found a couple of solutions, but I'll tease you with that one, and that'll be probably coming out in the next few months. But till then, guys, I'm ShadowsReign. You guys are awesome, and so is Rue's computer. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.